Hey, what's up guys? It's Etienne. I thought I'd do one of these videos to try and help people to transition from Mania into Etterna, because from what I've noticed, it kind of seems like people are having trouble getting used to Etterna coming from Mania, playing for a couple of years, and when they kind of come to the game, they're more or less overwhelmed by all the new terms they have to get used to, where to put in what folders, what all the new mods mean, etc, etc. So I thought the first thing we should talk about are the mods that go with the game, or the player options. So I'm going to fly through these because last time I tried this I ended up talking for 20 minutes, so let's just get right into it. So the first thing is the speed. If you come from Mania, you're probably going to want to use the M mod if you still like playing SV stuff, although you're probably not going to find that many. The standard that everyone uses is C mod, which means it's a constant speed, which is the C. And the M mod, I don't know what the M stands for, but I believe Mania uses M mod speed. So if you want to emulate playing on Mania, use M mod. If you want to use a constant speed mod, like most Etterna players do, use C mod. Rate's pretty straightforward, goes by half rates. It's pretty neat. That's pretty much it. Noteskin, double time if you want to do that, 1.5. But next is the Noteskins. A lot of people have trouble dragging their Noteskins into the Noteskins folder because they think it's just the Noteskins folder and they don't look into it. So there's like a couple folders when you open the Noteskins folder. You're going to want to drag your Noteskin into the dance folder, and then your Noteskin will work. That seems to be the main. I've had that a couple times. People don't know where to put their Noteskins, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Next, there is the appearance. So what the appearance is it basically determines how the notes come into the receptors. So you have hidden and sudden are the main two ones that you want to focus on. Hidden is the fade out, and sudden is fade in. Those are the only two ones you're really going to need to know if you're a fade in or fade out player, and the other ones are irrelevant. I'm not sure what the offset does necessarily. You could probably adjust that, but I couldn't really find anything for that quite yet. Next is the customized gameplay. Customized gameplay is pretty straightforward, because once you use it, you have a multitude of options that teaches you how to adjust certain things, like XY coordinates of various, like the playing field, the judgments, etc, etc. I'll probably do another video explaining that, but that's the overall gist of that. The receptor size can get a little confusing when you first get into this, because not many people know what it means. So it just, well, it basically means the size of receptors, besides that. But basically, you just want to know that decreasing it by every 5% decreases the size of the notes by 10%, and increasing it every 5% of the receptors increases the notes by 10%. And obviously when you do that, you're going to have to adjust the speed mod as well, so keep that in mind when you're making your notes bigger. You make the C mod or M mod slower, and when you make the notes smaller, you make the C or M mod higher. Perspective, Mania uses overhead. So if you're coming from Mania, I would highly suggest just sticking to overhead. If you do want to experiment with other ones, there's incoming, which basically puts the arrows or the receptors inward. Same at hallway, but I think it's a little more drastic. I can't quite remember which one does which. And then you have space and distant, which are pretty similar, which space and distant kind of puts the notes back more, kind of like a pancake. And that's pretty much all you need to know about those. Turn, you're not going to really worry about any of these either, unless you have like a mind block or something and you want to kind of switch your notes up a little bit. I would just use mirror. Shuffle is basically just like random. It's another word for random. And the other ones are kind of irrelevant. They're not really, I don't think they're really, I think your scores get deranked anyways, so, or unranked, my apologies. Next is scroll. If you come from Mania, you're going to want to use reverse. All the other ones, again, are irrelevant. They're just meant for gimmicks, more or less, and are just kind of fun to use if you want to try something different. Mines, if you come from Mania, you should at least have a general idea of what mines are. They're kind of like these little bombs that you see, or depending on your note skin, little circles that come onto the screen to go to certain parts of the song, or there's like mine dodge files. So if you want to turn those off, cool. If you want to keep them on, cool. There's really no bad side to doing each one, so besides there being mines when you turn them on, but that's about it. Next is the hide. Blind and cover don't necessarily, I don't know if they do anything at the moment, at least I couldn't find anything when I tried them out. But dark just gets rid of the receptors, so if you don't like seeing the receptors when you play, put dark on, and that just more or less gets rid of them. So that's pretty much about it in that aspect. Judgement Text, it basically just shows the marvelous, perfects, greats, etc. And if you want to turn that off, it just gets rid of them completely, and there's no and if that's a distraction to you, you can simply get rid of that. Current percent shows your percent while you're playing. I think it's super helpful if you're going for a certain type of score and you know if you want to keep going or not. Same with the gold tracker, which goes hand in hand with the current percent. You can set it to any percentage you want, actually. You could set it up to even 100, which obviously isn't possible, but you can set it from like whatever. I mean, I would highly recommend using 93 for the most part. If you're going for higher accuracy scores, you can use like 96 and up, but 93 is usually what most people use. But if you don't want to use one at all, that's fine too. The tracker mode, you can either just set a certain percent, or you can set your personal best. So that's pretty cool that if you just want to beat your personal best and not worry about getting a certain score, you can just turn that on as well. So it's between set percent and personal best. Next is the judge counter, which displays all the judgments on the side, and what those do is like it'll just go up as you're hitting the notes. It can be a little distracting, so if you don't want it, you could turn it off. And also, if you don't have a fast computer that can not necessarily handle Etterna, but just kind of has its lag spikes here and there, or if you're streaming, you could turn it off if it really impacts your performance. The error bar shows how late and how early you're hitting, and it also shows the judgments as you're hitting the notes. You'll see like little blue, yellow, and green ticks, and just other colors I'm trying to think of, like red and whatnot. Player info is at the bottom left. It shows all the mods you're using, your name, and such. This isn't really that necessary either. You don't really need it, especially if you're worried about optimizing your performance in this game. So you can turn that off because it like it says in the description, expect a 20% or higher drop in average FPS. So I mean, if you're a streamer, I'd probably recommend using it, but otherwise you don't really need it. Progress bar location, it just shows how far in the song you are. So you can either put that at the top or the bottom, or you can't even have it on. So if it's a distraction to you, again, you could turn all of these things off. Mini progress bar, I tested it out. I don't know if it's just my build, but I couldn't really find anything on that either. The description just says it's like a less intrusive, more accessible version of the progress bar. It's like right above the combo text, so it's probably nothing like too noticeable that you really notice when you play. So screen filter, I have my brightness off, so this is pretty irrelevant for me, but if you do have a background on, so like which is your brightness all the way up, you can turn a screen filter on to filter just the playing field, and then the rest of the background like on the left and right side. So if you want to turn it to like the 1.0, it would just be a black streak for your playing field, and then the left and right side of the screen will have your song background. Lane cover, I'll also have a clip of this. This is basically what is known as screen. I can't remember the word for it, but basically you can cover a certain part of the lane with a gray box. You can either use this for sudden or hidden, so you can either put it at the top or put it at the bottom. I'll demonstrate that. I can't screen cutting. That's what it's called back in the day. So you can cut a part of the screen, and then what people do is they lower their CMOX because they like the notes close together, but they don't want a lot of the playing field to mess them up. So that's basically what lane cover does. NPS display, you can either display the graph of how many notes per second are going on and off in the song, or you could just have the number of notes per second at the moment, which is pretty much what I use. NPS graph can get a little laggy sometimes, so whatever one you want to use is completely fine. Don't worry about the background, that doesn't matter. Life difficulty, keep it at 4. Judge difficulty, anything 4 and above is completely fair game. Anything under 4 would be disqualified, or it would just make, well, not disqualified, but it would make your score much more worse. That's really the only word I can think of. Custom evaluation windows. Trying to see what this one is. I actually didn't look into this one. So it allows you to translate scores at evaluation screen to custom time. So custom time window. Wait, so you can set that yourself then. I just grabbed the brightness before. That's just your screen background when you're playing. The fail, put it at whatever, doesn't really matter, because if you have it at off, the game knows when you fail anyways. And then center one player, most people are used to having their playing field centered. If you're a really old school player, you would probably turn this off to have your screen all the way at the left, but you would also just have to fix everything else because everything gets a little screwy when you put it all the way at the left. And that's pretty much it. I know that seemed like a lot of me talking. I'll definitely be able to provide examples to make this a little less hectic, but hopefully this kind of helped you transition from Mania to Etterna a little better and got you more familiar with the terminology. So let me know how this video is, because I'm not really used to doing this type of stuff, nor am I really familiar with how to edit videos or anything, so it's probably going to be very bare bones, clip after clip editing, which is me doing random things. So be sure to follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/EttienSM, twitter.com/EttienFFR. It's the only two I really use, and I will see you guys around.